Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special webinar on digital marketing with generative AI. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And let's explore all the categories under this segment and definitely, let's enhance our career and think on the lines where we need to become an expert in this domain. So thank you so much, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Um, I begin by sharing my slides, and we are exploring this segment. Uh, your facilitator, Gitanjali Pathak, definitely giving you a little heads up about my qualifications, expertise. So I've been okay, so I could just see some prompt. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. So just to give you a little heads up about my qualifications, uh, done my economics honors from India, post-graduation in advertising and public relations, as well as MBA in marketing, having 15 plus years of experience into this digital space, coming from both the segments, that is agency as well as the client side, and taking care of various brands which wherever we are exploring the digital marketing space, and definitely the growth and the equation and the changes what we have seen throughout our journey. So what I'll do is I'll begin by discussing the agenda for our today's session. We are definitely going to talk about advertising. We are talking about branding, marketing, because again, the coined terminologies, though different but quite interconnected with each other. Tips and tricks under the marketing domain for smart campaigns and career growth. Search engine optimization, we are all aware of. We are adding two more elements, that is AEO and GEO. And in the end, definitely taking care of all your question and answers and the details where we need to connect and associate with each other further. So, my first slide, when we discuss about branding, advertising, and marketing, though distinct and quite different terminologies, but the concepts are very, very important and interconnected in the marketing domain. So whenever we speak about branding, okay, so this becomes like a process where we need a unique identity, a personality, an emotional connection with our customers for any product, service, idea, thought, or expression. Because marketing is not just about a product or a service connection, but we speak about services, we speak about other elements, even if it's an idea or an expression, which can be marketed, branded, as well as advertised. So we focus on the business and how people perceive it. It includes values, voice, and the visual identity of a product. Something where I can look at a logo, a definition, or basically a tagline, byline, a text which is actually defining that brand. So we build strong, positive, lasting perceptions in the mind of the consumer through our branding. For example, Regenesys Business School, Digital Regenesys, and all the properties and businesses under the institution, which is education. So whenever we are talking about a logo or a brand byline or a strap line, so we know that the colors, the significance of communication, your tagline, everything plays an important role. For example, over here, you can actually see yellow. We can see green, which actually denotes happiness, which denotes optimism, energy. It represents nature, growth, as well as balance. That is the amalgamation of the colors, that is green and yellow, used in our branding. And along with it, the tagline, the punchline, or the slogan, that is awakening potential. So significance and association when I'm talking about the perspective of branding. Similarly, on the same lines, when we talk about the ideation or the concept or the inception of emoji and the smiley in an emoji. You know how all the emojis and all the smileys, where there was this person called Harvey Ross, who was the founder behind this particular emoji, and the color association with this particular segment was definitely yellow. Again, something which is signifying happiness, optimism, and obviously energy. Going further, we are definitely going to talk about the essence. That is the essence, why it is important, why the essence of branding is important. We establish recognizability. I resonate with a logo, the color, the byline, the strapline. There is an emotional connection which I have built, because there is something where I always look up to when I am associating myself with that particular brand or product. Similarly, you create loyalty. We are definitely going to talk about the core tactics, which are logo, visual system, core values, and the mission statement. That is something that defines, something that explains what the product or service is all about. So going forward on this particular learning, we know that the next element is advertising. And again, amalgamation, a concept, an amalgamation, a concept. Could you please confirm, Sneha? I can still I can see some messages stating that they are unable to hear the sound. I hope my sound is absolutely clear and I'm absolutely audible to everyone. Sneha, could you please confirm the same with me?
Yeah, it's like audible properly.
Absolutely fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. So, yes, we are talking about advertising, the other coined terminology. Again, a tactic within the marketing mix of paid, targeted, as well as promotional communication to increase visibility and immediate impact. That is something where we need to understand that I am advertising, I'm amplifying my brand with that message, I'm amplifying that brand with that byline. And basically, the goal is a broader audience. I'm generating awareness and I'm prompting an action from my potential buyers, because the more they resonate, the more they connect with the brand. That is where we are defining that how well we are, how well, we have reached, how well our audience is aware about us. So that is where your advertising will come into picture. Next is definitely understanding the role what advertising plays. It increases immediate visibility. We talk about reach, specific segments. We are talking about media selection. Definitely, we need certain platforms to advertise. I cannot just solely talk about building just a website and then making my brand reach all across. No, advertising requires print, it requires radio, it requires TV, because we are talking still, when we are talking about the digital space, we still speak about the traditional marketing space, because wherever our audience is, we need to advertise our product or service. That is the clear cut message, which is the current requirement to reach a wider audience. So we are talking about messaging and creative messaging. That is eye catching designs, concise messages that align with the brand style, budget planning, optimization, tracking performance, and adjusting ad spend for the great returns. Because here we are talking about advertising not only in the organic segment, but we also talk about the paid segment of marketing. And definitely the third and one of the element which interrelates or which amalgamates all the three is marketing, where we are talking about the strategy. We are talking about the process where you are promoting products and services to attract and engage a target audience. I am creating certain communication that reaches the target audience in such a way that they are attracted to my business, they are attracted to my product, and I make a connection with my target audience through focus and goal. That is one of the element when we are talking about, and definitely we need to understand this further. And talking about the understanding, we know that we need to refer to the objectives of branding and marketing, emphasizing to identify various opportunities, generating leads and conversions, measuring effectiveness, market research, product positioning, and promotional strategies, which definitely play an important role when we are talking about all these elements in association. Certain activities, certain marketing strategies, which are playing an important role, because all of these elements, when we are discussing these, it plays an important role because we are focusing on the segment where we say that branding is what and why, advertising is where and when, and marketing is the how. That is overall strategy of your brand, product, or service. So, continuing this momentum, marketing is not just about creativity, it's about clarity, consistency, and connection that we build with our target audience. We are focusing on all these elements to create something which reaches out, to create something which attracts, and that brings a noble brand, and that brings a noble advertising or a marketing strategy that is actually reaching out to our audience. So taking you through, to certain examples, for example, we speak about Airbnb, and this was their latest hoarding. We imagine a world where you can belong anywhere. So the concept of Airbnb, we know as a brand, is all about providing that experience in your vacations, in your staycations. And when that brand is emphasizing the idea of belongingness, the brand is actually trying to feature on the theme based on stories of hosts and the guests all across various cultures. Because when we are talking about Airbnb, it's not just talking about your vicinity or your area, but it is talking about a global reach, where we are not talking about a world which is confined in a shell, but which is actually giving us an experience to explore. So the concept of the idea of belonging, that is something which this particular brand emphasized when it spoke about the kind of marketing, the content, the branding, the byline, or the kind of logo and the details about this particular communication. Similarly, we all are aware about this particular logo and the brand, that is Nike. We talk about Nike talking about their logo and their communication by just saying, just do it. The concept of confidence. We are talking about performance, and we are talking about self empowerment. Here, the brand tried to achieve these categories through their communication, through their marketing strategies, whether the brand was connecting with the influencers, whether the brand was connecting with the athletes. But the main perspective and the thought process was connecting with an audience in such a way that it provides them that confidence, performance, and the self empowerment segment, to achieve the desired goals in any kind of walks in their life, whether it is fitness, career, or other elements. Nike, with their communication, has built a mark for themselves. Similarly, we have something where it comes under the platform of open AI, and how chat GPT, utilized their communication and strategy, whether it is in terms with their branding, advertising, or marketing segment, using a simplistic approach, using a simplistic approach where The segment was talking about connecting from meal plans to budgeting. Okay, where the segment spoke about connecting from a communication which is day to day part of an individual's activity, who is actually connecting with this open AI called chat gpt. um, Sneha, one help which I would require, is there a way I can actually keep my subtitling on the layout, on this presentation layout? Because some of the learners and participants are requesting that. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to add that segment on my screen. I'm not able to see that option on my panel. Okay. Sneha, if you could just see, if you could just assist me on the same while I continue with my presentation. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this update. God bless you. So yes, we were talking about this particular chat GPT and the way of their marketing when it comes to, providing a realistic segment, a realistic, approach, to take care of a real time association. That is people who are prompting or using this particular platform with their day to day activities. So that is one aspect when it comes to the digital marketing space. So, yes, from meal plans to budgeting, open AI pitches for everyday conversations, reminding all the travelers that AI prompt can solve real time problems. So, that is one aspect of this particular chat gpt platform, open AI, doing their marketing, which is actually in association to the daily prompts they have received in their day to day association with people using their platform. So, for example, give me a beginner friendly running plan to train for my first 5K, that is basically associated on a social media platform. Or I want to practice my first in class presentation, act as my public speaking coach. And that is the assistance, and that is the prompt, and that is also part of the OpenAI's marketing strategy. Similarly, this concept where you are using a particular branding or a negative appearance for defining a particular brand. Now these happen to be strepsils. Okay, a brand that is basically associated with your sore throat or any kind of discomfort for your throat, and how this brand used a negative description or an appearance where it actually gives the right kind of message through their communication, where the brand tried to communicate that in their marketing strategy. Though this looks ferocious in first go, but however the concept is that you associate this particular ailment and you take care of this particular ailment with these strepsils in the form of a kind of a healthcare medicine. So that is one element. You associate that not only whether it comes to your day to day scenarios, but sometimes it is also part of some negative way of promoting a product or service, and then associating that and getting the right kind of target audience connection, and people resonating with the brand all the more. So this is one of the example in front of you. So whenever we are talking about branding, marketing, advertising, and the category, goal, scope, method, time frame, and the result, these are our elements we need to keep in mind, whether it is establishing a unique identity, for a product or service. So while we are discussing, we are actually touching upon all the elements which are actually an essential part of the digital marketing domain. Because whenever we are talking about the scenario today, we talk about marketing in all the aspects. Okay, so depending on the brand product idea, we are trying to touch upon and we are trying to emphasize that all these elements are playing an essential role when we are talking about creating any kind of marketing collateral to promote a product or service online. So yes, you establish a unique identity. You There's a scope where there is a broad long term value which is in the form of visuals, voice, communication. We emphasize on the emotional resonance or the uniformity of a presence, that whenever we talk about any kind of existence of a brand product logo or their byline, there has to be a consistency in all the marketing collaterals, evolving from best but essential over a company's entire life, evolving but very very essential part over a company's entire life. And there is a deeper loyalty and recognition which we see, which we actually receive and we achieve by all our marketing efforts. So this actually gives you a kind of an overview of all our previous slides. So yes, whenever we are talking about branding, we are talking about advertising and marketing, we are talking about harmonizing certain elements, like we maintain consistency, we use our data wisely, whether it is kind of brand adjustments or something to do with the messages or the metrics or the kind of engagement we see. We need to use that data which benefits us as a brand. Similarly, we invest in collaboration, we monitor feedback, and there's a constant coordination among various brand strategists, marketers, advertising professionals, because every time we know that this particular perspective, we know that whenever we talk about marketing, it's not like a one man army. It's like a pool of people with their own expertise coming together. Because definitely when we are learning certain elements, we learn it in a comprehensive manner, but whenever we have to devote time and parallelly execute certain tasks, it has to be in amalgamation with people and their expertise and niche into their segment. And that is where we say that your collaboration, because you work better when you are together. That is also one aspect, and that is also one concept which we have learned over a period of time with our association in this digital marketing domain. So definitely you maintain consistency, we use the data wisely, we invest in collaboration, and then we monitor the feedback. And that is something which is very very important, that we are not working aimlessly, we are not working blindly just for the sake of doing things. Like today, when the marketing team thought about this particular webinar, there were constant association, connection, and the requirement of certain keywords which were included, because that's where we know that there is a mindful approach, and marketing, branding, advertising is all about that. We talk about all these elements, we talk about all these categories, and we also focus on certain things that play an integral part into our system. So definitely this segment definitely plays an important role, where we say we maintain consistency, we use data wisely, we talk about communicating and investing in collaboration, and then we say we work in unity and we monitor the feedback. Whatever activity, whether it is an email marketing strategy, whether it is a webinar, whether it is just a WhatsApp marketing, every activity is scrutinized, every activity is evaluated so that we know that we are doing better. We learn from our mistakes and we are doing better. We evaluate what is working for a brand and what is not working for the brand. And that's the key role where we say we harmonize branding, advertising, and marketing. As discussed in our agenda, the second segment we are discussing is the search engine optimization and the other associated terminologies which we are definitely going to include in this particular session. So we all know that whenever we talk about marketing, branding, advertising, it has to appear, or whatever efforts as an individual who is making in the digital space, gets evaluated, or the result is seen through the search engine optimization result. That is, if my brand appears in the top 10 searches of Google, Bing, or any other search engine, for example, Google, Bing, or any other search engine. So sometimes these elements focus on the strongest click through opportunity because people still need to visit your site. And if your website has optimized content, fast loading, local SEO, it can show up in the results, driving traffic directly to you. So, for example, if someone searches luxury at a bargain, and here I have an example of a real estate platform from South Africa called munarealestate.ng. Okay, so that is something where you understand that as a brand, the ranking is important. The ranking is important where on my search engines. What are my search engines? Google, Bing, or any other search engine platform we associate with. And some of the examples, if a person is searching luxury at a bargain, and we are trying to say that we are optimizing our content all across, because marketing is not just that you are focusing on a website and that is where your search engine optimization is done. Definitely, it includes other elements, because we say that we are focusing on providing that segment into other areas, where we say we are focusing on promoting our brands on various aspects. And that is a collaboration when we talk about optimizing our content. We talk about fast loading, we talk about local SEO, and we are talking about showing up results. And that is part of our marketing strategy, and definitely part of our content marketing strategy. So, as an example from Muna Real Estate, this particular image, this particular communication which resonates with the brand, and then we are talking about search engine optimization as our first element. Next is AEO. As discussed, there were two coined terminologies which we are going to discuss in our today's session, which where we say that AEO refers to direct answers. Here we are saying that we are optimizing the engine that gives one line factual answers like Google's featured snippets, knowledge panels, Siri, Alexa, or any kind of prompts like Siri, Alexa. Alexa is one of the platform or one of the commodity or product of Amazon. So again, a kind of a speaking device. So a buyer asks, what makes this market unique? So if your site has structured frequently asked questions, schema markup, Google may pull the exact answer and cite your brand. So here the focus is moderate. People may click for validation, but the main value is visibility and trust. So here we are talking about AEO, and where we are talking about answer engine optimization, which is referring to citable single source or direct answers to a communication. So here what the reference of AEO is answer engine optimization. Going forward, one of the example again from Muna Real Estate, the communication, the byline or the tagline or the content which described certain government incentives and certain kind of disclaimer activities which are essential for a first time buyer. Next, as discussed in our agenda, we talk about GEO, that is generative answers. GEO refers to generative engine optimization, where we are saying it is called as a synthesized multi-source of answer. For example, we say GEO is about positioning your content for a AI-powered answer engines like Google's AI Overview, Bing, Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or Perplexity. All of these are basically our AI tools, and these tools don't just give exact answers or extract the answers, but they synthesize across resources and the sources. So, for example, someone asks, ready to invest? Contact Muna Real Estate today. So, for example, instead of linking to one site, AI creates a blended response. If your content has depth, it has comparisons, clear explanations, you stand a better chance of being referenced. So here we are talking about GEO, that is generative engine optimization, which is also referred to as synthesized multi-source answer. So here the focus is uh, definitely lowest, where we are talking about that AI tries to satisfy the query within its ecosystem, within its consortium of database, where it talks about brand visibility, authority, and definitely an increase in the popularity of that particular product or service which we are referring to. So GEO is about positioning your content for AI powered answer engines like Google AI overviews, Bing, Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Perplexity. These tools don't just extract answers, they synthesize across resources and sources which they actually, connect or which are part of their entire consortium. So this is what we are referring to as the current scenario when we are talking about, search engine optimization, AEO and GEO. So definitely an example that is in front of you, which is again from the same brand, because here all across the search engine optimization or AEO, that is answer engine optimization, or GEO, that is generative engine optimization, the reference or the product or service which we emphasized and discussed was real estate. So, why does this matter all the more in today's scenario? Because SEO is about discovery and website traffic. We talk about answer engine optimization as factual authority of the data that appears on the search engine. And then we talk about generative engine optimization, that is future proof presence in AI powered research or AI powered search, where everything that is appearing on an AI also has a synthesized multi source answer. That is, we know the exact valid resources of that particular communication or the data that appears in the search result. So, as a brand founder or marketer, you need to think in layers. And when I say layers, that is, think on each and every aspect we have discussed so far in our presentation, to rank for keywords, whether it is to answer questions directly, whether it is positioning of a content so that AI engine can trust and include you. So all these are essential elements for a brand, for a founder or a marketer as part of our digital marketing domain. And definitely you have certain AI, which we are definitely going to include to automate our work, to make our work grow faster, to create elements with a personalized and a tailored approach. So which is why these segments definitely have an association of an AI search, which is an intersection of paid placement as well as organic visibility, where all the two segments have a certain credibility given to AI, where we know that you collaborate with AI, and this is a master collaboration when we talk about in the current scenario. In case if we are talking about certain kind of AI applications, like where we need to see what the competitors are doing, through their communication. There is some app, there is a particular platform called adspider.io, where we know that we need to create ad copies and creatives. So we talk about segment like adcreative.ai. We know that the segment we are emphasizing is Canva when it comes to designing or creating that eye-catchy design that actually connects with the target audience, something which they find beautiful online and they connect with that brand. And definitely, we require high converting ad copies, that is, communication that actually plays an important role defining that brand, product, or service online. Along with it, we have Google's Performance Max, we have Facebook Meta Advantage Plus, as well as Google Analytics, to take care of the ad optimization bit for smarter targeting formats on Facebook and AI driven insights to improve the performance segment. So this is one of the element that we really need to keep in mind as part of our digital marketing space. So, talking about you and the AI collaboration, talking about an individual and an AI collaboration, we know that we are talking about JavaScript object notation. Okay, now this is something where uh, as an individual, okay, when we are talking about progressing, we can define a communication to an AI in the form of, where we can enter the right kind of data, in curly brackets and quotes, so that it actually resonates with the JavaScript language and gives a direct information to that platform to provide the right answers based on the query which we have raised. So this is one segment, but this does not prove that fact, or does we cannot just sway away from that fact that we are talking about AI being consumer centric. We are talking about asking questions and queries to AI in a very simple way, but as a advancement, or when we say, because we cannot talk about digital marketing being complacent in nature. We always talk about digital marketing in a progressive format. We always talk about digital marketing growing exponentially with their strategies, formats, with tools, platforms which we keep using day in and day out. So here, one of the example is that in spite of using certain AI prompts in our common language, we can also use a kind of script which gives a right kind of direction and narrative to an AI to provide the solution. And this is just in the form of a computer language, similarly called as an example, which is JSON script, that is JavaScript object notation. Okay, so this is one of the examples. But again, I repeat myself, that doesn't mean we cannot use an AI with a generic prompt. This is just an advancement when it comes to providing certain instruction and receiving that communication from a particular platform. Like, for example, the script over here, if whatever we have included in this slide, I just copy directly, okay, which is in curly brackets and quotes, and I just go on perplexity.ai, copy my script, okay, and here if you see, this is just the quotes, a simple, I'm not saying that I need to learn coding specifically to use an AI, but what I'm saying is that in today's scenario, when we are talking about 2025, this is also one way of getting the accurate answers and details from an AI. So where we give a right instruction about a task, topic, audience, I hope everyone can see my screen. It's absolutely visible to you all. Where we are talking about task, we are talking about topic, audience, hook, body, tone, and the length of words. And we give a prompt, and then we expect AI to give us a detail or a narrative based on that information. So, again, a way where we can actually explore different segments of prompting on a particular platform and customize it based on our requirements. Like there is when we are talking about digital marketing, when we are talking about branding, advertising, and when we are talking about digital marketing with generative AI, you have all the options to explore various segments. You have the options to explore certain free platforms, and obviously take that initiative to ideate, because you never know as a digital marketer what innovation, what idea might work for a brand. So this is also one of this way where you can use that instruction to create the kind of prompts which can be used as part of our discussion. So yes, I just hope my screen is absolutely visible to everyone. Just confirm the same with me. Okay. So moving forward, okay. So yes, I had moved on another screen to show a particular application, which is why I was not showcasing the slide. I was showcasing the screen. I used this particular prompt on the Perplexity AI just to showcase how this can also work apart from a humanized communication. Apart from this, on this particular segment, we also talk about, when we are talking about marketing strategies, this is also one of the way where we say certain negative concepts in our communication, and we expect an audience to connect and associate or at least think about us. So when we are saying that, we use certain kind of examples like stop wasting on time your time on some popular method or a product, and here's why, or the ugly truth about this industry, or the hidden mistakes everyone makes in, and the perspective of a particular product or service. People are lying to you about this particular concept. Nobody is unfolding the details to you. So this is also one segment where you use communication as part of your strategy, whether you are an influencer, whether you are using certain kind of communication to create reels, which is also part of your social media marketing strategy. Similarly, other examples that we could resonate with, like stop doing, and then there's a popular habit before it's too late. Why actually hurts you, why a common advice about a certain scenario or a topic, most people are doing this completely wrong. So I am using certain negative hookups in part of my communication strategy to connect with my audience in a certain way, and to attract them or to connect with them through a kind of a segment which becomes like an eye opener for your target audience. So this is what, when we are talking about this particular segment, when it comes to negative hooks, which we can use as part of our social media, whether it is an influencer marketing strategy or creating certain reels or content for our brand, product, or service. So in all, when we are talking about the key benefits of this particular career, when we are talking about defining a pathway. Definitely, there is one segment which I really would want to say: there is not a single dull day, when it comes to this particular domain, when it comes to marketing, because we are always exploring, we are always learning, because we are using certain tools and platforms which are also growing in their platforms or in their own space. So definitely one growth leads to lot of learning, one growth leads to lot of innovation. So definitely it's a future proof career we talk about this particular segment, where it is increasing efficiency of an individual. More exposure on certain tools and platforms, the more learning gets widened. And one of the element of this particular marketing space is your information does become a key when it comes to this particular segment. It plays an important role in your career growth. There is enhanced creativity. You are adding personalization in your communication. Definitely the course highlights talk about comprehensive curriculum, practical experience, and definitely the certificates and qualifications which are associated with these programs. We have career opportunities when it comes to growing demand, diverse career paths, and a competitive salary. And this is one aspect: more exposure, more more knowledge about certain brands, products, services. The more better you become with this particular, you become an expert in this particular career, and that is where the money is going to follow suit. Try to focus on expertise, try to focus on enhancing your knowledge. And definitely once you become an expert, once people once you create certain brand value for yourself, the money is definitely going to follow when it comes to this particular progressive and a very evolutionary career base, specifically when we are talking about digital marketing with generative AI. And definitely, when we are talking about the advantage, the association, what Regenesys provides in terms with the magic of its learning experience. We are talking about a well established institution. We are talking about a global alumni network, not only just learning from your own country or vicinity, but having a cross border learning approach. And definitely, there are various flexible learning options as part of our career base. So, as part of Regenesis, as part of this particular career program, whenever we talk about this segment, whenever we talk about digital marketing with generative AI, there is a lot of love which you actually develop over a period of time for your product or service, and that is what showcases in your marketing strategies. This is one element where we say that not a monotonous career path. Whether you are an entrepreneur, the things where that you require a certain kind of team and people, or whether it is a vendor association, for this particular segment, that you have the right kind of information to execute that knowledge base, and that is what you include as part of your career journey. So this is one segment which, whether you are an entrepreneur also, and you will be allocating certain tasks within a team, but as an individual, because you are aware about the nitty gritties of the entire digital marketing space, you are aware about how things go about, what are the changes, this makes you a better leader, and then also you can execute a better marketing strategy for a brand. So these are the elements that associate with our digital marketing journey. So just an example in front of you. Now, this particular video or an animation is actually created on Canva. Okay, a very simple approach, but using an AI to execute a certain task. Definitely an affirmation where we say that any kind of job role, any kind of career we are choosing. We require that persistence, we require that effort, and definitely we need to push ourselves towards the right journey. We need to push ourselves with the right kind of mindset to achieve the kind of success which we are expecting, because nobody on this earth can achieve success without hard work and persistence. There has to be a career path. We need to learn certain elements. As a facilitator who is associated with digital regenesis, as a facilitator with Regenesys, we are constantly learning, we are constantly part of various training models. Why? Because very very important, because as aspect, because a connection that we are trying to build with our team, with our learners, is only going to grow over a period of time. And the growth requires lot of knowledge, the growth requires right kind of learning and assistance. So that's where we talk about exchanging that knowledge and exchanging the right kind of path and journey we require when it comes to this curriculum of digital marketing with generative AI. Another animation which is built on Canva with a just a different approach. Okay, so a platform that not only gives you communication but also provides you the right kind of design elements that could be part and parcel of your creative approach which is required in the digital marketing space. Okay, so if I just share my screen with you all. Okay, so this particular platform or this particular component has been worked on Canva with a very simple approach of creating a design with the help of animation. So if I could just share that information and screen with you, where I use this particular uh, page feature to animate a particular content as part of a free version. It's not the pro version of Canva, it's just a free basic version which we have used here. So, yes, to the end and coming to the closure, we every time we speak about Regenesis, we associate ourselves with this integrated model which is talking about the holistic interrelationships strategy and delivery, where we focus on physical, mental, emotional as well as spiritual growth. Very very important aspect as part of our digital marketing space, and important part of our graduate attributes, because marketing is a face behind a product or service. And these virtues, these potential features also define the face of an organization. So when we are talking about brands, when we are talking about services, we are talking about living entities. We are talking about individuals who define a certain personality about a product or service. And talking about all the creative segment, talking about all the technical learnings and understandings, we also know that the soft skills play an equal important part when we are talking about marketing, because marketing is also around connection. Marketing is also around human psychology and building that long term association with your clients or your target audience. So Digital Regenesis, apart from the marketing courses, there are other programs and other courses which are part of our digital marketing consortium. So this actually gets us to the end of our session for today. And I just hope this actually cleared lot of misconceptions, cleared certain doubts, and definitely we are open to discuss certain queries which we receive from our participants. Sneha, can we just look into the chat details? in case if there are any specifications we need to look at. Yes, the panel is actually open for the questions and queries. Uh, Thank you so much for the confirmation of the audio. Okay, so we have a question which says, what is the best way to do marketing? Is it visual or one-on-one? So I think, in our presentation, we covered both. We covered the traditional as well as the current digital segment. And definitely, we talk about marketing. We talk about all the modules and all the sessions which are associated in this curriculum. And when we emphasize on the modules and sessions in the curriculum, we know that these modules and sessions act as a different strategy for a brand. And as a marketer, it's not just one activity that is being fruitful or giving you that kind of result. It's the usage of various elements, strategies together that is providing you or giving you the right kind of result to create a sustainable model for a product or service online as well as offline. I just hope this answers your query over here. Okay. Yes, I'll also be sharing the slides with you all. Absolutely fine with me. And definitely, what I'm also doing is I'm sharing my email address with you all in case we have any further questions, anything to do with any kind of doubt clarification, or what is the desired career goal or a path we need to take. We are there for each other. So I'm also sharing my email address with you all. We have a question. How do you see generative AI reshaping customer segmentation and targeting in digital marketing by 2025? So we are already in this particular era. Definitely tools, platforms based on the requirements. Like now, there could be a time, when we are using certain platforms for free, where we'll not be able to use those platforms on a free base because of the sustainability level, which these tools and platforms also need to maintain, and which is also kind of a fair requirement or a fair deal, because we also need to understand that when we are connecting with these brands on a free subscription way or a model, there is a less income, which they generate. And to create a sustainable model, they need to include certain commercials. Yes, part and parcel of our journey, where certain free tools and platforms would be monetized over a period of time. And yes, when I'm talking about automation, like as I mentioned in my slide, it's like you are collaborating with an AI, and AI is not providing you the answer on its own. So there is always going to be the right kind of association and collaboration which will be essential for the journey. And yes, while you are part of this digital space, your knowledge, your thought process, automatically, when I'm talking about marketing, constantly I'm talking about branding, we are talking about advertising. So focusing on certain elements is actually a direct transitional phase of our journey. By default we look at the content, we look into punctuations, we look into vocabulary, when we are communicating. By default we see if the prompt is correct when we are providing a kind of a query to a particular AI, or the process is such that thought processes we are trying to be not providing any errors when we are creating any content around that journey. So your tools are going to be the assisted tools which will automate or help you do that work faster, but that customization would be essential. That personalized touch would be essential, and obviously this is also going to happen with the kind of feedback and the information you receive about a product or service. So that is also one of the segment you keep in mind, when we are talking about AI, when we are talking about innovation. So, yes, definitely, this is part and parcel of our journey where you are talking about creating certain content with the help of AI, providing that personalized touch based on the product or service we are talking about. We cannot say that we we trust AI 100% without any personalization. That's where, because as an individual, as a human entity, I know my product and service better than an AI. So I'll be able to justify that with my knowledge base as well. So that is where your personalization definitely, but yes, today's time we can do certain tasks quickly with the help and support of the AI tools and platforms. Um, okay, it's a very valid question. In a world where every brand has access to similar AI tools, what will truly separate the leaders from the others? So, as we discussed, one of the element that whenever we are talking about a brand, product, or service, it is talking about a living entity behind that brand or product. The tools, the platforms, the technology is something which we are constantly getting exposed to. Today, if we are using Canva for constantly 1 week, we'll at least come up with different features and techniques to use a particular or create a particular content or graphic design. But when it comes to creating a niche for a brand or product, there are a lot of elements, like as we discussed, the virtue of a brand, the thought process, the tone of voice, the communication, what is the ideology, and the main important purpose. All the brand owners, all the entrepreneurs should remember that always create something which is purpose driven. Don't just blindly do things for the sake of doing. Don't just do things for expecting some kind of perks, but try try to mold or create a mindset which is important for a personal journey. Try to create a mindset which is required for a personal growth, and automatically when there is growth throughout your journey, when there is progress in thought process, when there is progress in learning, definitely it is going to gratify you in some way or the other in the form of perks and money which you will receive as part of your salary and earnings as well. So the purpose driven direction, yes, lot of AI tools, lot of platforms which are there in the market space, which we use in our day to day activities, and sometimes we feel that the prompt is just giving a similar answer, but your presentation, your the way you communicate, the color of your brand, the byline of your brand, it will never be the same. And that is what will differentiate, and which is why we discussed the topic of branding, advertising along with marketing, because those are the areas where you actually create a niche for your product and service online. Very, very apt and a beautiful question asked. Thank you so much for this question. So I just hope this answers the query. Um, I see another question. Okay, will you be showing us how to use Pro Canva and video editing softwares like CapCut? Also, as a blogger, will you show us how to place ourselves in the market? Okay, so as mentioned, the concept, the path, the direction, okay, will include all these elements. But until and unless I don't start using the tools and platforms myself, I don't have an exposure, I will not be able to resonate with it. Because as part of our career and as part of our curriculum, we have certain elements as part of our, curriculum, which includes theory, which includes certain coined terminologies which would be included. And definitely there would be certain activities, which we will ask you guys to do, so that you all get an exposure to certain free tools and platforms. Because here we are only focusing on the free parameters, we are not focusing on any paid platforms. So that is one segment we need to keep in mind. And more exposure, that means more exposure in terms with certain in class activities and hands on experiences, which is going to be part of our journey. So I hope this answers your query. How best can one do school marketing as a marketing officer alone? Obviously lot of elements which are going to be part and parcel. And as I said, it's not a one man army, there are pool of people with the expertise. Because you have to identify that the task has to be conducted parallelly. You cannot say that for 6 months I will just create the pages on social media, or I will just concentrate on the website for a year and not do any other activity. No, the task has to occur simultaneously, so that there is a kind of result which we can identify and gauge. So that is where, you would require a team. Yes, the strategy, or you can conceptualize that this is what my framework would be, this is what my roadmap for my school industry or for my school marketing would be, and then I will include the right kind of resources and people to collaborate and do the task. So that is one segment we keep in mind. I hope this answers your query. Um, how is the small business with limited budget leverage generative AI in their marketing? Lot of activities which we do as part of our day to day marketing process. So those things can be handled minimalistically with the help of AI. Certain tools, certain platforms which give you a kind of free access and a basic, intervention when it comes to certain marketing collaterals. So that is where definitely this could be a limited budget resource. But yes, over a period of time, when a brand grows, when we are talking about reaching out to a wider space, so it is an amalgamation of both paid as well as organic concepts when it comes to marketing. Do you think AI will eventually create self optimizing marketing ecosystems where campaigns run and evolve with minimal human oversight? As mentioned, to do any activity, you need to collaborate with an AI. You need to give a certain prompt. Yes, there could be a kind of research or a kind of data which that AI will provide, but that data requires an human intervention to execute or do the task, so that that brand becomes a sustainable, reachable, and known model over a period of time. So, yes, the framework can be provided, but there is a lot of small time level of execution which cannot escape human intervention. Again, part and parcel of our journey. Like today also, if we know that, I'll give you an example. When we sit with our digital marketing team, that is with Regenesys digital marketing team, sometimes we know that certain infographics, certain images can be just AI generated, but still we require certain human intervention for customizing certain tasks and requirements, because we know as a individual, as I mentioned, as a stakeholder or as a owner of the brand, you know your product, you know your baby well, and that is where these elements will come into picture, that your thought process and knowledge in association with certain tools and platforms that are automating the task. So yes, definitely there would be human intervention, because as I gave an example, that in spite of having certain tools, having certain platforms, we need certain designing team, thought process, and their knowledge, their acumen, when it comes to certain kind of placements of a particular image, logo, colors, or maybe even the size. So all of these are definitely going to have that human intervention, which is never going to escape that AI format. So it's going to be a collaboration each time. Okay. So my email address is there with y'all. Please connect in case if y'all need any kind of advice when it comes to choosing the right career path. Trust me, we are there, for each other when it comes to providing that right kind of knowledge base and essential requirements which are part of digital marketing with generative AI. So I guess this gets us to the end of our session for today. In case of any further queries, any questions, we can definitely reach out to each other. We also have our coordinators, our team within Regenesys, who will take care of all your requirements and queries. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for providing your precious time and connecting with us in this particular journey. I will send my email address again. I'm writing it here again. It must have gone on the chat earlier. It's Gitanjali P at regenesis.net. All the technical details, whether it comes to the recording or other aspects, will also be taken care. In case of any presentation sharing, we can also connect with the tech team and take care of the requirement. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for being there throughout the journey. Thank you so much for the entire assistance throughout and giving me this opportunity. God bless you all. Wish you a very happy weekend. God bless everyone. Thank you so much.